In this case, the very institution we hope to protect us is the one many people suspect may be responsible for the crime. What's going on, everybody? Please make sure to find the clue in today's story and make sure you put what it is with the timestamp in the comments. That way you get pinned and you get entered into the giveaway. First, we are going to start with the story of Felipe Santos, who was a Mexican living in Florida illegally. He had been brought into the country for 3 years without the correct papers, and he had been sending money home on a regular basis to support the family that he had left behind. Now, along with his two brothers, Felipe was in his car and on his way to work. Now, the group got into a small traffic incident while driving through Naples, causing local sheriff's deputy Steven Calkins to give him a citation for several driving infractions, all of which were misdemeanors, including driving without a license or car insurance and reckless driving. Now, having been cited, Santos was placed into the patrol car. Okay, so on hearing that Santos had been arrested, his boss had called up the local jail, to post bail for his employee. Now, only to find out that they had no record of any such arrest. And on questioning Calkins about the incident, the deputy just claimed that he had undergone a change of heart and decided to release the prisoner at a local shop before driving away. This version of events seemed to contradict the account given by another party in the traffic incident, who claimed that the lawman had been agitated about the fact that Santos did not have the correct documentation. It then took Calkins 2 weeks to submit a report about the incident, after which Santos' family filed a missing persons case in addition to a complaint about the arresting officer. And astonishingly, just after a brief investigation, Calkins was cleared of any wrongdoing. Felipe Santos, however, has not been seen since, prompting criticisms from his wife, who says she was not even interviewed about the incident. And as we move forward a few months later, another man named Terrance Williams vanished under similar circumstances. But unlike Santos, Williams was an American citizen. And this was on January 12, 2004. Williams was supposedly just alone at home, and then he disappeared. And the last person to have any contact with him was someone that lived with him, Jason Gonzalez. Now, he had a phone call with him that evening, and Williams had been invited to a co-worker's party and was driving home to prepare for work the next day. But you see, he was not in possession of a driver's license, and having been cited previously for driving under the influence, as well as this, the registration of his car had been expired. So he made the decision to drive to the party illegally, and after he didn't return home that night, Williams' roommate became concerned. He emailed Williams' mother regarding the vanishing. Now, soon after the missing persons report was filed, rather than police, it was Terrance's aunt who first found her nephew's vehicle after it had been towed away from a cemetery in Naples. The report from the tower suggested that the vehicle had been blocking traffic, a report which had been signed by Steven Calkins. After the family contacted the police with this information, it was quickly discovered that Calkins had filed no report of the incident or arrest. Terrance's family investigated further. His mother called the workers at the cemetery and learned from them that Calkins had indeed pulled the car over and asked the driver for identification. The driver, Terrance Williams, did not possess such documentation. And the cemetery workers recalled seeing the deputy pat down the suspect, who was then placed into the back of his police car, And those who were working at the cemetery that day also recalled the policeman asking them for permission to leave the offending vehicle behind in the parking lot. And then he drove away with Terrance Williams in the back of the car. A short time later, workers remember Calkins coming back to the scene and moving Terrance's Cadillac to the other side of the road, leaving the keys on the ground right next to the car. Now, with a little bit of suspicion now on the rise, the Williams family began to take their findings to the police. And they would call the station oftenly and ask to speak to Calkins. And the station contacted Calkins themselves and asked for more information about this incident. But the deputy claimed no knowledge of having had any cars towed in such a manner or even arresting anyone that day. So after this, Calkins' supervisors asked him to submit a report. Now, this report discussed the incident, including the fact that Calkins had pulled over Williams after the young man was driving, quote-unquote, in distress. And the deputy says that Williams asked for a ride to a local store and that he obliged. Now, Calkins said that he had been told that the correct paperwork was inside the car, but upon returning to the vehicle, Calkins discovered that this was not the case. So he tried to track down Williams, but was to no avail. Calkins supposedly dug deeper and found that the car had not been registered and that Williams did not work at the store as he suggested he did. Now, the police checked into Calkins' story, but were unable to find any corroborating CCTV or phone evidence. Store employees could not remember the incident, and no witnesses could be found who agreed with Deputy Calkins. Okay guys, at this point, if you think Officer Calkins is lying, then like this video, and if you think he's telling the truth, then comment telling me why. Let's continue. At this point, Terrance Williams' family lodged an official complaint against the deputy, and with no further leads and no evidence of foul play, just one missing person, it was at this point that Terrance's family were contacted by representatives from the Mexican consulate in Miami, informing them about a similar case involving the same police deputy. Then, once it had been established that Calkins had been involved in more than one such incident, the case became infinitely more complex. You had police officials checking over his interactions with dispatch, the recording showing more differences between the stories. Calkins could be heard describing the car as abandoned and as an obstacle to the road. This contradicted the witnesses' reports and Calkins' own statement. Police at this point did not know what to believe or who to believe. Calkins could even be heard joking about the possibility that the abandoned car owner could be in the graveyard, only to come back and find their car missing. But there was also language that was racist, hinting at the potential owner of the Cadillac. And just 20 minutes after this interaction, the deputy requested background information on Terrance Williams. And again, this contradicted Calkins' report that he had not even known the person's last name. Calkins, on being questioned, could not explain these inconsistencies. And after this, he ceased to be cooperative and was fired from the local law enforcement department. The two men, however, still at this point were not found. It turns out the tow company did indeed pick up Terrance's white Cadillac at the Naples Memorial Garden Cemetery on January 12th. That's when Marcia went to the cemetery and spoke with the workers there. And they told her that a cop put him in the back of his cruiser and then drove away with it. And because of the nature of this case, larger law enforcement bodies have been called to help. However, neither the Florida Department of Law Enforcement nor the FBI were able to provide any further insight. Now, what's coming next, I could have watched this to give you guys more information, but I thought it would be kind of a cool experiment for you guys to watch it and tell me what you think happened after watching it in the comments. Because there was a deposition given by Calkins in 2020 in a civil lawsuit brought by Marcia Williams, and it aired publicly for the first time on Never Seen Again, which is a new Paramount Plus docuseries about missing persons cases. And the first 2 episodes of the series are dedicated to the Williams and Santos story, and are narrated and executively produced by filmmaker and actor Tyler Perry, who had became involved in this case after seeing the TV report about it. Now, Tyler Perry said that they're both disappearing with the same deputy after being put in the same deputy's car. If this is a coincidence, then that deputy is the most unlucky man in the world. That this could actually be something that happened to him twice. I just don't see how that is a possibility. So at this point, it's safe to say that the very institution that we hope to protect us is the one that is responsible for the crime. I cannot say that without certainty, but it's been over a decade now that Terrance Williams and Felipe Santos have been missing. And even though they vanished months apart, the striking similarities between the cases hint at dark forces at work. And that includes Deputy Calkins. If you found this story interesting, please right now subscribe and make sure to hit all in the notifications. I would appreciate that a lot. I tell stories every week, so make sure you have those notifications turned on so you know when the next one drops. Alright, I'll see you next time. Peace.